Bella and the Beast, Part 3. In Part 2, Bella had discovered an inner room in Beast's bedroom on the 3rd floor, where Beast grew blue roses. She thought that he would never find out about her visits to the 3rd floor, but he did, and he was livid. He then locked her up in one of the rooms on the 3rd floor. Alarmed and bewildered by his rage, she eventually dozed off. What was the mystery behind Beast and the blue roses? Discover it all in this concluding episode. Bella was woken up by soft voices in the room. It was Beast's murmur, which sounded like a distant thunder, and a lady's whisper, which she knew must be Aunt Jan. She was back in her own bedroom and in the coziness of her own bed. "Don't worry, Prince. I'll take care of her. But you shouldn't have been so hard on her. You must apologize tomorrow. You go to bed now."
"All right, Aunt Jan. I was angry and upset. I told her never to come to the 3rd floor. She disobeyed my instructions and went into my private space."
"Yes, but that's no reason to get so angry. I've told you that you must learn to control your temper."
"I'm so confused, Aunt Jan. I don't know how I feel, and my feelings can go nowhere because I'm just a beast."
"Hope is not lost. God answers prayers. You wait for me in the library, and then we can have a talk." They did not know that Bella was awake and listening. When Beast had gone, Aunt Jan gently tapped Bella, offering the heavy-eyed maiden some tea and biscuits, as she had not had any food since breakfast. "Please, Aunt Jan, tell Prince that I'm really sorry," she whispered drowsily. "Go to sleep, sweetheart. We'll talk about all that tomorrow. Good night." Aunt Jan later went down to the library to have a heart-to-heart talk with Beast because he was in such low spirits. She told him that one day he would be very happy. All he needed to do was to put his faith in God. The next day, Bella did not want to go down for breakfast, but was persuaded to do so by Aunt Jan. Beast, however, did not come. After breakfast, Bella went to the library, where there was a huge, beautifully wrapped gift waiting for her. On a card was written, "I'm sorry for treating you so badly. From Beast." Beast did, however, come for dinner and later spent time with her in the library. He was really apologetic about the previous day's events. Playing some music, he asked her to dance with him. Bella was somewhat dreading holding his giant-sized hands with its sharp, claw-like nails. She was, however, surprised at how well and gently he danced. From then on, every evening after dinner, they would dance, play the piano, and have a happy time together. One evening, as the dance music stopped, he asked her,
"Am I very, very ugly, Bella?"
She hesitated before replying timidly, "Yes."
"Do you like me, Bella?"
"Yes, I do, Prince. You're kind and gentle, as long as nothing makes you very angry."
"I'm so sorry, Bella, for what happened. even though you shouldn't have gone to the third floor. I love you, Bella. Do you love me?
Oh, Beast, I'm sorry I disobeyed you. I like you a lot and I like your company.
Will you marry me, Bella?
Oh, no, Beast. I'm sorry. I couldn't marry you. I like you a lot, but I don't love you. Trying not to hide his disappointment, Beast murmured,
Good night,
and left the room abruptly. Bella felt bad at upsetting him, but how could she marry someone who looked so hideous? She felt sorry for him, as she realized that being a deformed, weird-looking man was not his fault, and so she made up her mind to pray for a miraculous change in his grotesque appearance. The next 2 days he was sulky. He spoke less at dinner and did not come to the library. Bella was surprised at herself that she missed him so much those 2 days. Nevertheless, by the third day, he was back to his normal self, and their pleasant relationship continued as before. Something else began, however, to weigh heavily on Bella's mind. During the 6th week, Bella had begun to have repetitive dreams that her father was very ill, and she woke up each morning feeling very worried and upset. After the third dream, she pleaded with Beast that he let her go home for a few days to see her father.
Dear Bella, you have just 30 days left to complete your 70 days. You can go home for a few days and come back to finish the rest of the days. I will not force you to come back, but please come back.
I promise to come back, said Bella. That afternoon, Beast had his horse and carriage ready to take Bella on her journey home. Mr. Laddy and Aunt Jan were also in the garden to say goodbye. Beast gave her a big bottle of water.
This water is from the fountain that is behind the waterfall. Mr. Laddy got it for you. I call it the healing waters. It really works. Give a glassful to your father every day, and I believe he'll get stronger and stronger until he recovers. Here are some gifts for your family as well. Have a good trip, Bella. Goodbye.
His voice shook as though he was holding back tears. Goodbye, Prince. I will be back soon, she said cheerily. But as the gates shut behind her, she became so overcome with emotion that she burst into tears. Was surprised at herself. Did she like Beast that much? But whatever the answer, her father was of foremost importance now. When Bella got home, she found that her father was very ill. Apparently, he had taken ill soon after Bella left home. Boaz had arrived home the previous day. The whole family saw how very happy and well taken care of Bella was, which put the merchant's mind at rest. He was really overjoyed at seeing his twins. Bella gave him a glass full of the spring water every day, and to everybody's surprise, he made a very quick recovery. Bella's sisters were somewhat jealous of her beautiful clothes and jewelry, even though she willingly shared her things with them. They could see that she was living a very comfortable life in the Beast's castle, while they were feeding chickens, milking cows, and growing tomatoes. However, Bella willingly took over these tasks while she was with them at home. Home was the happiest it had been since the shipwreck, and Bella thought less of Beast and his castle, until one night she had a dream that all the blue roses in the Beast's castle had withered. "I think Beast is in trouble," she told her family. "I must go and make sure he's okay. I'm glad you're now fully recovered, Father." "Do you prefer a beast to your family?" scolded Ruth. "Bella, how could you leave us? Father may become ill again after you leave."
"No, I won't. Now I know Bella is happy. I am happy too."
"I think Bella is in love with the beast," murmured Abby. "How can you love a hideous beast?" "He has a kind heart," defended Bella. "He's gentlemanly too. What's wrong with liking him?" "If you love him, you may want to marry him. And how can you marry a beast? Think what your children will look like."
"Be quiet, Abby. Stop bothering Bella. If she must go back, then she must go. It's clear you're happy there, Bella."
"I'm treated just like a princess."
"That you are," replied her father. "Go back. You only have 20 more days to go. I've been counting."
Bella's sisters then insisted on going back with her for a day or two to visit the castle, since Boaz was home with their father. However, when Ruth and Abby sat in the carriage, the stallion neighed and kicked, frightening the two sisters and giving them a very bad headache. They had no choice but to dismount, leaving Bella in the carriage. As soon as they got off, the stallion proudly galloped down the path with its head held high, in victory. In spite of her disappointment for her sisters, Bella could not but give an inward giggle and gave the stallion a well-done pat. Bella arrived at the castle in the evening as the sun was setting, and she could tell all was not right. The blue rose bushes in the garden were wilting, even though the other flowers were still in bloom. As she had dreamed, the blue roses in her bedroom were all withered. Bella's heart beat so fast. An air of gloom was everywhere. Where was Beast? "Prince, Prince," she called, but there was no answer. Mr. Laddy and Aunt Jan were also nowhere to be found. Bella was worried. She was anxious and upset, and reluctantly decided to go up to the 3rd floor, even though she knew it was out of bounds to her. But she needed to know if he was all right. She knocked at his bedroom door, but there was no answer. He was not there, so she hurried down the corridor, checking each room. At the 5th door, she heard the sound of groaning and went in quickly, only to find Beast on the floor of a dark, gloomy study room with many bookshelves. "Oh, Prince," she cried, "are you all right?" There was no reply, just the sound of his continuous, agonizing groans. "Oh, Prince, I'm so sorry I didn't come back on time. What's wrong? You don't seem well. What should I do?" The moonlight streamed through the window, and she could see him moving and calling out her name softly.
"Bella, Bella, Bella, you came back."
"Yes, I'm back, dear Prince."
"Stay here with me, Bella. That's all I need. I'm so weak. I may be going."
"Going where?" "Let me get you some healing waters from the fountain for you to drink."
"No, Bella. Aunt Jan has gone to get me some. All I need now is you here."
His voice was drowsy and husky, but she could make out every word. She held his big hairy hands. I promise I'll stay here, Prince. I won't go anywhere. You stay here, Prince. I love you. Don't go anywhere, Prince. I'll marry you. He groaned and half opened his eyes, staring at her. He seemed to smile in contentment. And soon there was a loud, peaceful snore. Bella felt a sense of great peace. Not long after that, Aunt Jan came into the room. She was so pleased to see Bella. Thank God you came back. He hasn't had a moment's peace since you left. We must stay here with him. That was no problem for Bella. Exhaustion and relief got the better of her, and she too fell asleep, his big chest supporting both her and Aunt Jan like a pillow. When Bella woke up the following morning, she was surprised to find that she was in her own bedroom and on her own bed in the castle. She opened her eyes to see sitting by her bedside Aunt Jan and a very handsome, tall young man, whom she immediately knew was Prince. He was looking at her intently. She sat up abruptly. What happened to you? She exclaimed in bewilderment, her heart pounding with excitement. Those sharp canines, they're gone. Your ears are normal. Your hair is done. You're smaller. What happened? It is you, isn't it?
Bella, my love, yes, it's me, Prince. You seem disappointed, he said laughingly. Did you prefer my old self? Love has healed me from the curse of grotesque ugliness.
Bella burst into tears, which started the others shedding tears of joy. It took a few minutes before they all stopped crying.
The curse of ugliness was put upon me by a frightful woman whom I came across one stormy night 15 years ago when I was only 12 years old. It was outside this castle. She asked me to give her shelter from the storm. I was with Mr. Laddy, and we had just arrived here to spend the weekend. This castle was new then and had just been built by my parents, the king and the queen. I let her in, and I told Mr. Laddy to take care of the ugly old woman. I didn't know that she heard me calling her ugly. The next day, before she left, she found me in the garden by a rose bush, and she spoke a curse of ugliness over me and said it would remain until someone was able to love me in my ugliness. She then added with a horrible laugh that it wouldn't be until blue roses blossom in my garden for 70 months. I was quite scared, as I was only 12, but I didn't believe anything would happen to me. However, day after day, I kept growing strange features all over my body until I became the ugly creature you used to know. I stayed hidden here with Mr. Laddy because I couldn't go back home. Then I became obsessed with blue roses. I prayed for a blue rose, and I troubled Mr. Laddy so much. He told me that there was no such thing as blue roses, and that what the evil woman meant was that it would be impossible. We used to go through the forest every day searching for blue roses, until one fateful day we found a single blue rose right here by the stream behind the fountain. Mr. Laddy said it was a miracle. Yes, I am the prince that the whole kingdom think is dead after the storm 15 years ago. I was really hiding away here because I had become a hideous beast. So you see, Bella, I have lived here in great torment for the last 15 years, feeling like a beast and sometimes behaving like a beast. definitely looking like a beast. Mr. Laddy and Aunt Jan are the only people that have been here these past 15 years. Aunt Jan, shall I explain your story? Aunt Jan nodded. We don't really know who Aunt Jan is. Mr. Laddy found her unconscious, lying by the gate, the morning after the storm. She was in a coma for a long time, and when she woke up, she couldn't remember anything about herself, not even her name. For a whole year she was very ill, mostly in bed, but when she became better, she wanted to remain here, and Mr. Laddy has looked after her like his own daughter. Aunt Jan has been like a mother to me. She has shown me only love and kindness these 15 years, and she never seemed to look at my grotesque appearance as anything. This is my story, dear Bella. Will you marry me, my dearest Bella? He went down on his knees by her bedside. There was a ring box in his hand. Your eyes are the same, and your voice. Yes, you're the same person. Oh yes, Prince, I will marry you. I told you that last night. Do you remember? Yes, I remember. Today is the happiest day of my life. It's like a dream. Every time I look into a mirror and I see my reflection, I'm overjoyed. Overnight, in my sleep, my body has been made normal. God be praised. There was then a lot of joyful tears and a lot of joyful laughter, and the 4 joyful people went happily down for breakfast. Later that afternoon, something happened that threatened to dampen the joy of the day. Aunt Jan came with Mr. Laddy into the library to join Prince and Bella for lunch. And looking at Bella, Aunt Jan suddenly shouted, "Boaz, Bella, I remember now." With that, she collapsed on the floor. The 3 others were immediately at her side, and Prince gently carried her and laid her on the sofa. I think she's remembering her past, said Mr. Laddy. Stay with her, and I will get her some spring water from the fountain. Bella wondered how Aunt Jan had known her twin brother's name. Could this be her long-lost mother? As she stared into Aunt Jan's face, she knew this was her mother. Memories of her early childhood. Why had she not realized this all these weeks? How undiscerning she had been. Now all those feelings of déjà vu, which she had experienced when Aunt Jan was around, made sense. Aunt Jan fell into a deep sleep for 3 days, waking up twice, but only for a few seconds each time. Bella and Prince took turns in sitting by her side. Meanwhile, Mr. Laddy had been given the task of travelling back to the city to inform the merchant and his family of the latest developments and to bring them back to the castle. During this time, the king and queen, who were Prince's parents, had come over to see him because Mr. Laddy had gone a couple of days before to inform them that when Prince was very ill. When they arrived at the castle, they were met with such good news and were thrilled to see their son completely transformed. When Aunt Jan fully woke up, she remembered everything about her past life. The first thing she said to Bella was, "You are my daughter. I am your mother." "I know, Mother," Bella replied.
I kind of remember you now. How is your father and Ruth and Abby and Boaz? They're all fine, Mother. They're all here to see you. Well, what a triple celebration. The merchant and family reuniting with their long-lost wife and mother. The king and queen reuniting with their transformed son. And later, of course, the marriage of Bella and the prince. There was a buzz of excitement throughout the kingdom in anticipation of the royal wedding. It was indeed a glorious royal wedding. So our Bella and our beast, oh no, our prince, were married and lived happily ever after. And just in case you wondered, Bella and Prince had 2 children, a girl and a boy, and they lived in that same castle. Year after year, thousands of visitors came to visit the castle and to hear the true story of Bella and the Beast. One last thing. Did you know that the first blue rose was grown just 20 years ago, in the year 2004? So, how did the Beast and Mr. Laddy find a blue rose? Well over 100 years before that. It's a mystery or a miracle. Blue roses represent hope and achieving what seems impossible. For with God, all things are possible.